Ever wonder why she vanishes on the guy who worships the ground she walks on, yet can't shake the pull of the one who barely gives her the time of day? It's never about how devoted you are, how many favors you do, or how perfectly you treat her. None of that truly moves the needle where it counts. What matters, what digs its hooks in deep, is something far more visceral. It's entirely about how you make her feel about herself when she's standing in your orbit. The raw, uncomfortable truth is this: she doesn't fall for the man who hands her everything on a silver platter. She falls hard and irrevocably for the man who instinctively avoids doing three very specific things. Why? Because each one of these withheld actions taps into something primal within her: psychological, undeniably sexual, a current running beneath the surface of conscious thought. In this space, we're going to tear down the facade, rip the mask clean off female desire, and lay bare exactly why the man who seems to do less ends up occupying more of her mind, her fantasies, her longing. Once you truly grasp these three unvarnished truths, the exhausting performance of trying to impress her evaporates. You won't need to chase. You'll simply step into the role of the man she can't erase from her thoughts. Let's cut through the noise. First, the brutal reality most men desperately avoid. The more readily available you are, the less she actually feels. The harder you try, the more intense your pursuit, the more it dries up that spark. Counterintuitively, the man who doesn't react on her cue, who refuses to chase, who stands firm without flinching, who offers no explanations for his silence or his space. He's the one her body instinctively remembers long after he's gone. His indifference isn't merely cold to her conscious mind. To her subconscious, it's pure, unadulterated eroticism. Let's be crystal clear. This isn't advocating ghosting or cruelty. It's about presence without the suffocation of pursuit. He occupies space he observes, he's undeniably there. Yet he remains fundamentally unavailable on demand. That silence he wields, he becomes a magnet, pulling her in precisely because every other man is drowning her in attention, flooding her phone, begging for a scrap of her time, offering validation she never sought. But this man, the one who ignores her subtle games, her shifting moods, her carefully laid bait, he's the anomaly, the outlier. He transforms into a challenge. And nothing ignites her arousal more fiercely than a man she simply cannot decipher. Women aren't wired to crave what's easy. They're drawn magnetically to what makes them feel intensely: the unknown, the uncertain, the emotionally perilous edge. She doesn't get wet because you sent expensive roses. She gets wet because you held her gaze for seconds too long, then casually turn away as if she held no significance. Now you're in her shower thoughts, her late-night wonderings. Why didn't he bite? She desires validation, absolutely. But more than that, she craves the thrill of earning it. Hand it over too easily, too soon, and you rob her of the delicious tension that truly turns her on. This isn't logic, it's chemistry. It's biology. Female arousal is fundamentally triggered through psychological uncertainty, not direct reward, not comfortable stability, not even conventional handsomeness alone. It lives and breathes in the gap, the tantalizing space between what she intensely wants and what she's deliberately not getting. That's the fertile ground where fantasy takes root and flourishes. When you master the discipline of ignoring her strategically, not with disrespect, but with unshakable self-containment, you nourish that fantasy. Your silence whispers, "I'm not easily impressed." It declares, "You haven't proven yourself special yet." It challenges, "Earn my focus just as I appreciate your allure." That's the precise moment the shift happens. The texts start arriving faster. Her tone softens. Exclamation points appear. Double texts become frequent. Ultimately, she submits not to force, but to the intoxicating feeling of desiring someone who doesn't already belong to her. That's the core paradox. The guy who worships her, sweet, predictable, ultimately forgettable. The man who masterfully pulls back, gifting her the space where her own imagination runs wild. That man becomes a compelling story she can't stop telling herself. Don't mistake her for being oblivious to this dynamic. She'll test you, ignore you, feign moving on, It's all carefully staged theater. Her genuine emotions aren't invested in the performance. They're sitting in the audience, eyes fixed solely on you, wondering with a mix of frustration and fascination. Why isn't he reacting? She's accustomed to wielding control, accustomed to the power her presence commands. But when you refuse to respond to her beauty with the predictable awe of every other man, you subtly strip that power away. And in that sudden, potent vacuum, raw desire is born. You cease to be just a man. You transform into an enigma, a crack in her carefully constructed ego, the one who simply doesn't fall into line. And that, my friend, resonates as infinitely sexier than anything wealth could ever purchase. So, the next instinct is to reply instantly. Don't. The next time she serves up attitude, laugh it off, genuinely unbothered. The next time she pulls away, release her without a word. Women don't weave fantasies around the man perpetually at their elbow. They fantasize about the man perpetually hovering just beyond their grasp. When her mind cannot pin you down, her body begins its relentless, inevitable craving. Second, he cultivates an aura of unpredictability, ensuring she remains perpetually curious, perpetually coming back for more. There's an elusive quality about him she simply cannot decode, and that specific inability drives her to a state of delicious, addictive insanity. His mystery doesn't stem from deceit or hidden agendas. It flows from a profound place of not needing to be understood. In a world saturated with men who overshare, overexplain, and lay their entire emotional landscape bare, he remains comfortably enigmatic. That constant, low-level uncertainty, it's not a character flaw. It's the most potent form of foreplay. Because here's the unspoken truth. Women fall harder, deeper, for the man they cannot fully unravel. The one who makes them question, who makes them wonder late into the night. Why hasn't he called? What's really going on in his mind? Is there someone else? Did I reveal too much? The moment those questions start echoing in her head, you've already secured prime real estate in her consciousness. And once you've firmly entrenched yourself in her thoughts, her body inevitably follows the lead. Most guys tragically misunderstand this. They operate under the illusion that clarity is king. If I just tell her exactly how I feel, if I prove I'm different, if I demonstrate how deeply I care, surely she'll respond. But women don't fall for bullet-pointed explanations of affection. They fall for the magnetic pull of tension, the allure of ambiguity, the electrifying gap between burgeoning desire and concrete certainty. That's the exclusive neighborhood where her most potent fantasies reside. And that's precisely where he, the man who expertly keeps her guessing, plants his flag. She returns again and again, not because he provided satisfying answers, but precisely because he didn't. She replays snippets of their conversations obsessively, overanalyzes his deliberate silences, stalks his social media searching for hidden clues, all because he steadfastly denied her the cheap comfort of closure. Instead, he gifted her an insatiable non-curiosity. Understand this fundamental principle. Women are wired for emotional intensity, and no artificial high compares to the potent drug of the unknown. When she feels she knows everything about you, the machinery of fantasy grinds to a halt. When she's utterly certain of your feelings, the chase instinct dies. But when you remain genuinely unpredictable, when you flash unmistakable desire only to pull back with calm control, when you respond to her probing questions with an enigmatic laugh and leave her deliciously hanging, that's not manipulation. That's applied erotic psychology. It's the intricate mental chess match that ignites her passion, because you're not offering a predictable fairy tale. You're presenting an irresistible riddle. And riddles, unlike solved equations, are unforgettable. Crucially, this isn't about constructing a false persona. It's about being unapologetically sovereign over your own energy, refusing to hand over the keys to your inner world simply because she's curious. You are not an open book begging to be read. You are a locked diary radiating quiet intrigue. Every time she turns a page expecting revelation and finds only elegant restraint, her desire intensifies. When she consistently fails to crack your code, she instinctively starts investing more effort into capturing your attention. Longer texts, deliberate outfit choices, carefully chosen words. she begins to calibrate herself to. That's the inevitable consequence when you refuse to play by the usual rules. You become the game itself. Delving deeper, women aren't merely aroused by a man's mystery. They are viscerally turned on by the quiet emotional authority it signifies. A man who doesn't feel compelled to explain himself is broadcasting a powerful message. My worth is inherent. You don't require total understanding to exist within my sphere. That radiates genuine power, and power, to a woman embracing her femininity, is the ultimate aphrodisiac. It's not coldness, it's profound calm. It's not concealment. It's the understanding that not every facet needs public display. He is whole, grounded, self-contained. His value is non-negotiable. That quality is exceptionally rare, and women are instinctively drawn to rarity, even when, perhaps especially, when it induces a certain pleasurable frustration. So, while legions of other men bombard her with paragraphs of attention, needy just checking in messages and exhaustive explanations for their existence, he remains still, seemingly unmoved, visibly anchored to his purpose, allowing her emotions to do the chasing. She keeps circling back, not because he forcefully pulls her, but precisely because he never initiated the chase to begin with. He isn't cultivating mystery to manipulate. He's a man who understands a fundamental law. The moment she feels absolutely certain of him, the captivating game concludes. But when she's suspended in an intoxicating spiral of doubt intertwined with fierce desire, she's hooked, willingly, eagerly, undeniably aroused precisely because he keeps her perpetually guessing. And that constant uncertainty is the undeniable proof she still deeply cares. Third, and perhaps most crucial, he never, ever begs for a scrap of her time. She texts, he responds when it suits his rhythm, not hers. She calls, he doesn't drop everything he's building. She suggests plans, he schedules her in where it fits his life, treating her time not as an entitlement he craves, but as a valuable, rare commodity he respects, and expects her to respect his in return. This isn't arrogance. It's the bedrock of authentic self-respect. And that unshakable self-respect is the most potent aphrodisiac known to man. Here's the raw, unfiltered truth. When a man begs for her attention, pleads for her time, he broadcasts pure, unadulterated need. Need is the absolute enemy of genuine desire. It screams louder than any words. I am incomplete without you. My world collapses without your presence. No woman falls for a man who willingly places his entire identity, his sense of self-worth, entirely in her hands. The man she cannot resist? He operates differently. He treats her time with the seriousness it deserves because fundamentally his own life, his mission, his purpose, occupies the primary space. She is graciously invited into that vibrant world. She is never demanded to fill a void within it. Picture this. She texts, "Hey, you free tonight?" He replies, calm and collected. Booked solid until 8. Meet them. Simple. Unapologetic. She feels it immediately. A jolt of lust, a spike of intense curiosity, a flicker of genuine respect. Why? Because he doesn't chase her schedule. He commands his own with quiet authority. When she realizes she can't bend his time to her whim, her mind starts calculating. Why is he so booked? Is someone else occupying his thoughts? Does he value his ambitions more than me? That delicious uncertainty doesn't annoy her. It actively stokes her desire because she craves earned importance, not constant, cheap adoration. And when he finally carves out precious time specifically for her, she treasures it. It's no longer just another date. It transforms into a hard-won prize. This dynamic runs far deeper than mere scheduling. Time is the currency of life. By refusing to beg for her time, he signals powerfully that his life possesses inherent meaning, purpose, and momentum entirely independent of her orbit. This makes her feel secondary in the grand scheme, yet profoundly special when she successfully earns her dedicated slot within it. It's an erotic power exchange. The man who gives you everything instantly on demand becomes predictable, mundane. The man who selectively withholds his focused presence, he becomes sacred. In a charged space where she waits, anticipation builds. And within that anticipation, elaborate fantasies bloom. What will he wear? How will he touch me? Will he truly value these moments? Within those self-created fantasies lies the seed of true obsession. Recall every time she's been utterly infatuated. It wasn't with Mr. Available 24/7. It was with the man who made her consciously work for his time. Because in that effort, she invested her desire, her imagination, her emotional energy. Investment breeds a sense of ownership. When she invests in seeing you, she feels she owns a piece of you. She remembers the butterflies, the racing pulse, the exquisite ache of anticipation. That memory becomes a potent drug she relentlessly chases long after the actual encounter ends. Mastering the Stoic secret requires discipline. Guard your hours fiercely. Your calendar is sacred territory. Block time unapologetically for work, growth, essential solitude. If she asks to join the flow, fine. If not, not your concern. Offer clear options, never groveling excuses. I'm tied up until Friday evening. Dinner Friday at 9 work. Feel a shift? She'll instinctively start recalibrating her world to find space for you. Stay engaged, but never at her frantic beck and call. A brief, confident sounds good suffices. No essays of apology, no gravel. Leverage silence strategically. If she pings twice, resist the urge. Hold off. Let her imagination fill the quiet void. Reward genuine commitment. When she visibly adjusts her own plans for you, make the shared experience utterly unforgettable. The intensity of your presence should match the length of her willing wait. Crucial note, this isn't cruelty. It's selective, powerful generosity. A true Stoic gives freely, but never gives everything on demand. Women possess an innate radar for this difference. They feel the chasm between the man who lives solely for her validation and the man who lives vibrantly beside her, offering his prime moments as a conscious, valuable gift. And women don't merely fall for gifts. They cherish them deeply. They cling fiercely to the memory of that first evening he deliberately carved out for her. That first glimpse of him standing shoulder to shoulder with his ambitions. That pivotal moment when she realized she was genuinely admired, not simply entitled. That realization, that profound shift, is what transforms fleeting infatuation into deep, consuming obsession. So next time she probes, "What are you doing tonight?" Don't leap to reply. Pause. Breathe. Consider your own priorities. Then answer firmly on your own terms. Because the man who never begs for her time is, unequivocally, the man who ultimately earns her deepest devotion. Now be brutally honest. If you've ever chased a woman only to watch her pull further away, declare never again right now. Because today you saw the core reason it backfires every single time. If you've ever held your ground in silence, maintained your frame, and felt her come crawling back, affirm it worked. Because that's the exact potent energy she craves deep down. Show us where you stand. Drop your truth. Claim your growth. And if this hit deeper than you anticipated, if it resonated somewhere real, then hit like, subscribe, and pass this on to another man who desperately needs this wake-up call. Because the undeniable reality remains. The guys who master doing less strategically, authentically, end up receiving infinitely more. Understanding this is the key. Chasing becomes obsolete.